So moving along, so say you want to find out the count of the number of customers with a personal loan by education level. Okay, so you buy means anything. Anytime you come across something, say, okay, I want to give me something by this. Okay, and that right away you know that you have to use group by. Okay, so when you say count of the number of customers with a personal loan, right? So basically, we know what the loan column looks like, right? Uh, it has two values, 0 and 1. Okay, so 1 is with loan, 0 is without loan. So give me the number of customers with loan. Okay, so you would theoretically you would want to do this. Okay, so by education, the loan column, and you count. Okay, and you would think that is the right way to do it, but that would be wrong, because all it is doing is it is giving you a count of the number of customers by education level. It is not giving you the number of customers who have a loan. What you want to do is you want to sum up all the customers with 1, okay, and not report back customers with 0. Okay, so with loan. Okay, so how would you do that? You're going to do the same thing, group by loan, but instead you're going to sum it up. Okay, so if you sum them up, okay, you will see that 94 customers in the primary, the folks who have primary education have a loan outstanding, 416 and 174 and so and so, right? So we know what a count is. Count basically what it does is all it gives is the number of customers by category, but it ignores the null values. Okay, so if this loan column had a bunch of values which were null, okay, they are not, because we know that the loan column has only 0 and 1, right? Because if there were null values, you will see nan. Okay, we don't see that. Okay, so what is the count of customers with or without a personal loan excluding nans? Okay, that's what you would do, with or without, right? So basically you're counting just the total number of customers. Okay, but if you wanted to sort of just get a total number of customers, even though some customers had no value in that column, you would want to use size. Okay, so that's the difference between size and count. Okay, in this case, they happen to be the same. There are no null values, so they are the same. Okay, so let's sort of force a null value. Okay, so let's say in column in row 0 of the loan column you have a null value. Okay, so we purposely introduced a null value here. Okay, and let's do the same thing again. Okay, so you see count. Okay, so count and size. Okay, so count basically ignored the null value, which is what it's supposed to do, but size basically included it, right? And if you wanted to find okay, this is an indirect way to find the total length of data frame. We just want to make sure. Okay, so what is the total length of the data frame? You can sort of count the number of entries in that column by size, because it will include with and without null values, and just sum them up, and you will see that it matches that. Okay, okay, why does it? Okay, it does not. Okay, and the reason it does not is because if you look at the education level, okay, the education level had a bunch of values which were null. Okay, and I think and that's probably the reason why we did that. And I think when you get a chance, you can sort of go through this data frame, try to sort of understand as to why we are doing each and every step, right? And this Jupyter notebook is going to be available to you, so you don't have to take down any notes. Where is that? Where did we do that? Yeah, right here. Okay, so you see there are 187 nulls in the education level, right? So when you did where were we? When we did when we did the by education, it automatically ignored the nulls. Okay, and that's why you have a reduced number of rows. Okay, so it's just basically telling you. I think it was 187. I think we just checked. It was 187 null, and that's what it's giving you. So if you sum them up, so now, if you sum them up, you'll get the total length of the data frame. So now and you have the length of it. So now, only considering the customers who have a personal loan, find for each education level the proportion of customers who own a home. Housing equals 1, right? So now, the moment you say for each education level, you have to use group by, but then it is only asking for group by on customers who have a personal loan. So right away, you know that you have to filter the data frame out by folks who have loan equals 1, which is what we have done. So all the folks who have loan equals 1, the column loan equals 1, we are going to apply group by to that by education level, and that's what we are doing here. And then so this is a little bit of a indirect way, or it's a little bit of a nuanced way of trying to find out as to what the average number of people with housing is by education level for folks who also have a loan outstanding. So you see that folks who have a primary education, they have 55% of them own a home, secondary 60%, tertiary 58%. Doesn't tell you much, because we probably are not asking the right question. So basically everything is about asking the question, and whenever you're going to be dealing with data, you're going to be asking all these questions from different angles, different directions, trying to sort of get a feel of what the data looks like, or what the data is telling you, and how you can use that insight to apply it to your business, or to product, or whatever you're doing. Let's try to find out one thing. So which one do you think is faster? So here you're doing by education level for the loan column, and you're finding the mean. And that's what you're doing. Here you're doing by education level, finding the mean first, and then finding the mean first for all columns. So if we were to do this, it is finding the mean for all the columns, and then you're picking the loan column out and reporting that. So it is both doing the same thing. So which one do you think is faster? Doing the mean only on the loan column, or doing the mean on all the columns and then reporting the loan? Of course, intuitively you know that this is faster, because you're only doing this math on one column instead of doing it for all the column and reporting the loan column back, right? And here it's no big deal, and we can always time it. We can find out how long it takes. Here it's no big deal, but if you're dealing with millions of rows, right, you would want to sort of take into account these kind of situations. So back to the data frame. What are the top 5 occasions by jobs, for customers with the primary education level, right? So right away we know that we want the group by jobs, but before that we wanted to filter the data frame out by education level, and by education level, which is primary. So we are going to filter the data frame out, and then apply group by job, and then because top 5 occasions, right? So you don't care, you just want to count, you want to count, so you're going to apply size, size is going to report you all the different levels for folks who have a primary education level, and then you're going to pick the top 5, and largest. We have done n largest, it gives you the top 5 category, and you see that folks who are blue collar are more likely to have a primary education only, as opposed to someone who is in management and so on. So right. So this does tell us something. Let's try something else. So we basically all as you can see, we are asking a lot of these questions, right? So what is the breakdown by age of the number of customers who are students? We need entries for all ages, including the ones with 0 students for that age group, right? So for example, if you're doing 36, 37, 38 age, some, you might not have a customer in there with the age of 38, okay, but you want to have that number saying that okay, there are 0 customers with 38, okay. So you could do say okay, by student, okay, so you basically want to see by job folks who are student, okay, so you want to filter that data frame out, and then you're going to group by age, and you're going to do a count, right. You will not get any item with 0, and the reason is that it will not report any any basically customer with 0, okay. So in order to do that, okay, so basically what you're saying is that let's say 43, okay, so there is no 43, okay. So if you look at 43, there is no customer which has 43 age, okay. So the right way to do that is, okay, let's create another column where the job equals student, okay. So we have created another column, okay, and now wherever this guy is a student, the job level is student is true, everywhere else it's false, okay. So we create a new column, okay, and now we are going to take the student, okay, by age, and then create and estimate the sum, and you will see that wherever there is 0, for example, you don't expect an 81-year-old to be a student, of course, okay, 83-year-old, 87-year-old, okay. So you get all the ages instead of just getting so in this age group you have all sorts of people. You have retired folks, you have unemployed folks, you have folks who are in management, and you have folks who are students, right. But if you're just taking by student, okay, you will most likely not get a lot of these ages, but you want that age reported, and that's how you would do it, okay. So we created that column, inserted false wherever that person is not a student, and true wherever is student, and counted the sum, right. And then of course you don't want to keep that column because you found whatever information you wanted to find, and now you want to drop that column, okay. And now we get back our original data frame, and we are going to move on.